All right, so for our next step, we're going to use our aluminum foil. There are two different ways that we could do this project using the aluminum foil. The first way, if you are going to make sure that you have your foil large enough for the center part of the mirror, I'm going to use the exact same device, my bucket here, that I use to trace. Go all the way around that using your pencil to make sure that you have the same size, touching the lip of the container that you use to trace. And if you want to do it freehand, that's fine, but sometimes it's just a little bit more challenging that I find. All right, now, before I do any cutting on here, can we see that circle imprint lightly? You're going to be using this, if you're doing the technique of drawing on the aluminum foil, to add a little bit of texture, how something feels, or relief sculpture. It's going to be a little bit indentation when you draw with a more dull pencil. If you have a really sharp pencil, I think you guys know it'll tear, right? So I'm actually going to make this outline a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go around the circle that I traced and then freehand the other just ever so slightly larger so that it's like a really, really thin ring. Do you see that there? Now, I'm going to embellish with some more radial symmetry. So if I do this type of line spacing, I need to make sure that I do it all the way around. This is going to be more of a subtle decorative look. You're not going to be able to see it as vibrantly, although if you do have Sharpies, another option after you finish coloring the inside ring of your mirror, or more the outside of your paper ring, you can actually use the Sharpies on the foil to highlight some of the drawn details that you did. And that would pop color-wise as well. Maybe for every other one, I'm going to do a dot. So dot, empty, dot, empty. I'm making sure that I'm really thinking about keeping that symmetrical look all the way around. Patterns, colors is very unique to our Mexican mirrors. Empty. Gotta keep track of my dot, empty, dot, empty, dot, empty. Now, when you go all the way around, depending on if you're adding drawn detail or not, the Sharpies, if you do have some, you could actually go and, because they are permanent, you could add a little bit of color on your aluminum foil too, to kind of give it a little bit of pop in color, if you will. It's just a different type of color because of the material that we're coloring onto. Crayola markers and markers that are not permanent will just wash off. So instead of being frustrated, just know that only permanent markers are going to be the ticket when coming to coloring your foil. All right, now when I get all the way around, if this is how I want my inside mirror detail to look, then I know I'm going to need to cut out around and glue down to the background. When you're cutting around the foil, because of the type of material it is, you really want to be careful about cutting. It's very easy to tear this because it's so soft. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second when I finish up all the way around so that I can have this part be symmetrical. It's kind of like the rays of the sun coming from the center and shooting out. That's how I always remember my radial symmetry. All right. Now, when I go to cut this out, it's really important that you're carefully cutting. You can see it's not I'm going to do a rough cut before I get up to the line so that I am a little bit able to be more careful. And it's hard not to have the foil on the middle get kind of crumpled a little bit. That's okay, because that'll just look like a little antiquing, if you will. Now, you can even take this, if you don't want to cut right up to it, and fold it. I think it'll be easier, at least for me, to just cut it. If you're on the same wavelength as me, great. If not, great. You can do it either way. So I'm going to cut around the edges, and then I'm going to use my Elmer's liquid glue so that it really stays put. Okay, so I'm pretending that this wonderful mirror that I already cut out is all finished. It's not, obviously, but I'm going to pretend it is. If you want to, you can see I use just a circle without drawing on the aluminum foil. That's another option that you can do too. But I'm going to use this for right now. Don't forget, if you go overboard with your glue and if you push it down too hard, you're going to add lines to the foil on the other side, and we don't want that to happen. So very nice thin lines that you don't drag on the foil to tear. Once you have your glue, I'm going to fix these little fringes. You're going to then take it and put it right in the center. Ooh, this is going to be nice. I like to use the meaty part of my hand to kind of smooth it out. And this is going to look like an ancient Mexican folk art mirror because of the type of materials that we're using. So who knows, we can pretend that we dug it out from the earth, from an ancient Mexican tomb, whatever that you guys want to think is awesome. So this is going to be where you are. I'm not going to finish coloring because you guys are the masters of your own creativity. So I cannot wait to see all of your cool mirrors. I hope you have fun with this project because this is a really great one. Not any shape is the wrong shape, if you will. If you don't want to do a circle, you could do a heart. You could do a star. You could do any number of shapes as long as you're remembering that radial symmetry. All right, thanks.